Welcome to the Spiritually Lit meeting. Each week, we're honored to host powerful speakers from around the world, sharing their stories, experiences, and hope with us. All of our speakers are recorded and shared through our Spiritually Lit YouTube channel, so the message can reach those who need it. If you're listening to this recording and you're struggling, seeking help, or simply have a question, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact us anytime at spirituallit24@gmail.com, and we promise to get back to you. And tonight we've invited Chris R. from Texas to share his experience on the topic Approaching the Newcomer for the next 45 minutes. After that, the meeting will be open for sharing back. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on, and without further ado, I'll hand it over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Golly, I'm kind of overwhelmed getting to see some folks I hadn't seen in a million years. My name is Chris R. I'm from Ingram, Texas, and I got a little home group called Depth and Weight Group here in Ingram, and don't get to go as often as I'd like. I got to work usually on Fridays, and so I'm kind of but that's where I go when I can, and it's just so good to see you, Nick. I appreciate the invite, you son of a gun, and I'll keep your information. It's amazing how many calls I get from people all over the world. You've been sober a while, you get them, and people want to know, contacts where they can get them, and I keep the good ones. And Janet, I'm going to tell everybody out there, if they want somebody to run their danged Zoom meetings, they can call you, okay? I'll get your number. You're so good. But I got to say this, and if you don't get anything else out of what I say for the next 40 minutes, but get this. If people could come to recovery meeting, I don't care what fellowship, AA, DAA, Cocaine Anonymous, whatever fellowship they are, and they could hear people laugh like you, Janet, did, and just be friendly, open, come on. I mean, we would be able to help so many other people. It's amazing how many people. It's part of my story. I nearly died sitting in the rooms of AA. I tried to get, and I'll talk about it a little bit, but bless you for doing it. If you go into a meeting and you don't hear any laughter, you probably should go to a different meeting. I'll throw that out there. There's lots of meetings you could go to. They're called therapy sessions. And you can go and cry and whine and piss and moan all you want. But 12-step recovery is supposed to be, like happy, joyous, and free, I think our book is saying. So I'll just throw that out there. Really, before I get in there, I want to mention, I want to share my experience. Folks, my experience may be different than your experience, and it's okay. You don't have to agree with anything I say, and I'm not telling you how to do it. If what you're doing is working, man, rock on. And if it's not working and you're still doing it, you're stupid. Okay, I'll just throw that out there. God, how long did I do that? I spent so many years just, oh my goodness. Anyway, Ingram, Texas is a little small town just northwest of San Antonio. I'm about in central Texas, up in the hills. And I'm out here looking. I wish I could turn the computer around to show you, right on the Guadalupe River. And it flows down about 5 miles to where I did my first drink of alcohol. And gee whiz, I remember it was January 1971. It was the month and the year that our co-founder and Bill Wilson in Alcoholics Anonymous passed away. I took my first drink. It was a bottle of Boone's Farm apple wine. And God, I hadn't seen any in a million years. Last bottle I saw was in Canada one time. I know they still make it. Some of you little knuckleheads, if you ever relapse, go get you some of that. It's nasty. But Boone's Farm apple wine. And leaned up against one of those big old 700-year-old cypress trees and drank it. And I'll never forget. I was in high school, guys. I was a junior in high school. And it were good. My father was an alcoholic, and I always wondered why he drank as much as he did. And I drank that bottle and knew exactly why he drank as much as he did. And this is kind of genetic, folks. No kind of to it. Alcoholism and drug addiction is, there's certain drugs, folks, that you can take and get addicted to. Anybody out there can get addicted to certain drugs if you take enough of them. But to become a real true drug addict, buddy, there's genetics involved. And I've got an identical twin brother. He and I caught the bullet. And I've got two sisters raised in the same family, no trauma, no craziness, just beautiful family that never caught the bullet, never became alcoholics. Hardest thing to get people to understand, and I've been around it for years, folks. Alcoholism and drug addiction is not causal. It's not. No, not a one of us in here asked to be a drug addict or an alcoholic. And I got some great books. I don't know if that chat's ever open, but if it ever gets open, I'll give you, or I'll send it to Nick, and I can send him my email, and you guys can get hold of it, and you can email me, and you can send you. There's a lot of literature out there that talks about it, but who knew at the time? I didn't know about it. I just knew that for once I could talk to girls, and went to little football games on Friday night, and just had a great time. And it didn't get away from me. I wanted to be a professional chef. I had the opportunity to move to Houston, Texas, and little skinny one-eyed guy in Houston, Texas, at a big old hotel, and had a great opportunity there, and as an apprentice. And I mean, everybody in the kitchen drank, and some a little bit too much maybe, but I guarantee you I didn't. Just hold it. I had long periods of time, guys, when I could drink like a normal individual, and things got a little crazy. I don't know. I've started making some geographic cures. I don't know if any of y'all ever moved trying to be okay inside. You know, in Texas, we have this expression, if I could just get all of my ducks in a row, everything would be okay. And I could just see the little visual of I had my little ducks in a row, you know, job, girl, pickup truck. You can't get any more in a row than that. I mean, come on. And I was still miserable, guys. When I wasn't drinking, I didn't understand it. I was more miserable than I was when I was drinking and drugging. I didn't understand that the alcohol or the drugs were my solution. And we were all smoking pot, guys. Here in this area right here, we're about 175 miles, I guess, as the crow flies from Mexico. And we got all the drugs in the world coming into these little airstrips around the hill country. And so we all got introduced to drugs early on. I moved to Austin, Texas. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I moved back to Houston, Texas. I moved to Vernon. I moved a lot. I still have a pickup in case you need to move again. I don't know, but just, God, every time I'd show up, you know, I'd be there, and miserable, just unhappy. I got married one time because I'm sure I'm not the only one in this wonderful little bunch that thought that a good woman was fixin'. And she was a sweetheart. She was as nice as could be. She drank a little bit, but nothing like I did. But moved up to North Texas, and to be closer to my twin brother had moved up there, and I bought a little house. And guys, I don't know what to tell you. I remember coming out on the porch one time and asking me what was wrong, and I'm sitting there miserable. I'm just not happy. The depression's kicking my butt, and I don't know. I had an opportunity about a month after I moved there, to open a little restaurant, and I'd done it before in Houston. I knew what I was doing. Pretty talented. Most of us in these rooms are pretty talented. And I don't know. I've been drinking with a guy that was wanting me to go into business with him during the day. We'd have some beers. Guys, nothing major, but we'd been drinking. And there was this stuff. I don't know if y'all have any experience with it. It's called cocaine. Yeah. And this was in the early 80s, folks, by now. Early 80s, everybody in the United States was doing cocaine. Miami Vice was on the TV. Y'all think about it. I mean, your grandmother was doing cocaine. She says she wasn't, she was. In the early 80s, everybody was doing cocaine. And I'd done a little bumpy poo with this guy. And anyway, I came home, and I don't remember what was said. I've told this story 1,000. I don't remember, but I remember we started fighting about something, and I pushed her. Had a little shoving match, and I come from a family, we don't do shoving matches. And she asked me to leave, and I did. And she let me back in the house a few hours later. I'd sobered up a little bit, and we had to talk. I didn't talk. She talked. She said, basically, if you want to stay married to me, you're going to have to stop all that nonsense. She didn't know about the cocaine, folks. She didn't know how much I was drinking. And I promised her. I said I was done. Guys, when I looked her in the face with tears in my eyes because I was so embarrassed because of what I had done, she didn't marry somebody like that. I'd become somebody different. And, you know, I promised her that I would never touch another drop. And I meant it with every fiber in my body. I could have passed a lie detector test. And a week and a half later, I drank a beer with the boss and came home patting myself on the back because I didn't get drunk. And my deal with her wasn't that I wasn't going to come home drunk. My deal with her was that I wasn't going to drink anymore. And she packed her stuff and started to leave. And I went to AA the next day, guys. I mean, I wanted to stay sober, needed to stay. I knew what that was. There was no CA up there in that area at that time. But I don't know. I went and started my journey for the next 7 years. Guys, I'm going to meetings and I know you've got some of these in Europe like this. I've got too many friends in Europe to know that they don't. The meetings I was going to, it was all about storytelling. It was all about, who's got the problem or, you know, how did you get here? And everybody tells their stupid stories. And I can't relate to the stories because I'm not doing all that crazy stuff. And, you know, I just get bored listening to everybody whining about their day. And, guys, I'm not knocking it. You know, there's people we all got trouble and we need somebody to talk to. I've said it for all the years I've been doing this, guys. Man, get you a guy in Alcoholics Anonymous or Cocaine Anonymous or NA or whatever fellowship you're going to. Get them and go to Denny's. Go to a little all-night diner and sit there and eat and listen to y'all can just whine and just all night long. Stop bringing it into our meetings. Got too many junior therapists out there, and you can disagree. Big Book is pretty clear. We set aside one night a week for people to bring their problems, and I think that's a great idea, not 7. We need a place that we can see some hope. I meant it when I was talking about Janet earlier. We need a place that we can get excited about our life. And I talk a lot about it because if I couldn't have found that happiness eventually, I never would have stayed. I watch so many people struggle to stay sober and they just keep going to the same old meetings over and over. And you're not getting fed. You got to go someplace where you can. You know, I don't know. In and out. I'd stay in for a few weeks and go back out, come back in, pick up another chip, stay for a few months, go back out. I can't stay sober, folks. Nowhere in the book does it say if you go to enough meetings, you'll stay sober. It says if you work the steps, you'll have a spiritual experience. But I don't own a Big Book and I don't know nothing about that because there's nobody talking to me about that. I got to tell you, a vivid picture, memory up in North Texas, this little town where I was trying to get sober. And there was this big old parking lot out front. And y'all know the kind. It's got these big floodlights in the parking lot. And it's outside this big old AA club. And I'm in there and they had a regular meeting. And we went out on the front porch and everybody's talking about where they're going to dinner and what they're going to do. And I'm just standing there kind of looking lost. I'm as shy as they come, guys. Some of y'all in here know me well. I'm a shy guy. And I'm not real outgoing, and pretty soon everybody's off the porch and they're gone. And I walk out to my truck and lean against it. And about that time, some guy comes out of the club and turns the light off, and I can still hear the sound of the transformer shutting down and the lights going dark. And it's just me and my old pickup truck in that dark parking lot all by myself one more time. And I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to go down the street and buy some beer. Guys, alone by myself, that's what I do. Could I have asked for help? Yes. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I didn't know what to ask for. Nobody's talking about it. So anyway, in and out for years. And I don't know. 23 places in the Big Book it uses the word approach. Me as a recovered addict, I'm supposed to approach that little dope fiend over there. If I think I can help him, if he's over there by himself, I'm supposed to go over there and catch him. I heard an old guy in a meeting the other day say, well, if they get ready for help, they'll ask for it. You know, that's not my experience. I'm sorry. They do exactly what I did. They went up and leave. Put the desire chip with the other stack of chips they've got. And, 1987, I'm seeing a psychiatrist. I'm on 7 prescription medications a day. I've been to treatment. I've tried AA, 90 meetings in 90 days. Yeah. I can't stay sober, folks, doing that. And I picked up a stack of return checks in the mail, and I'm going to have to go borrow money. Like I said, I'm 35 and I'm miserable. I hate my life. And I tried to commit suicide and took a bunch of those pills, and heard a voice that night told me he says, go back to AA. And I'm arguing. I says, I've tried AA. It doesn't work. And anyway, I made myself sick. God intervened. I know it for a fact. And the next morning, that voice was still in my head. Said, go back to the 12 steps, guys. You know, it's got to work, because I see you guys staying sober. Some of y'all are anyway. And I went to a meeting I'd never been to before, folks. I didn't have time to go back to that old group I used to go to. And I'd been to this meeting. I'd never been there. I knew where it was, but I'd never been there. Somebody said it was a big book meeting. And who knew? I didn't know what that was. And I walked into the back end of the meeting, and I always tell it, I got real self-conscious and started to leave. The chairperson kept trying to get me to sit up next to him. He knew me from the other meeting, and I just got self-conscious, guys, and I started to back out. And this little girl got between me and the door, stuck her finger in my belt loop, and she said, sit down, cowboy, you're not going anywhere. I mean, God dang, this little girl must be 18, 19 years old maybe. Yeah. She didn't know it at the time, but she saved my life. Because if I'd have left, I'd have died. If any of y'all in here think that you know who God's going to use to help you, you're probably wrong. She set me down. Her sponsor was trying to get to me and couldn't get to me. She told her, she said, get him. And she did. I mean, exactly what she's supposed to do. God bless her heart. Got me a cup of coffee and paper towels to clean up the mess. And good gosh, chairperson went around the room that night. Just like a cool meeting like we're talking now. Everybody was laughing, and they went around. The chairperson said, I knew what he was going to say. He says, let's tell Chris how we got here. And I'm going to have to listen to your stupid stories about eating out of dumpsters and chopping people up and going to prison. And I just can't do it. We kill a lot of addicts out there, guys, by trying to scare them into recovery. If you ever find yourself saying, you don't want to end up like me, do you? Just stab yourself before you say it, okay? Just quit. God. Nobody's ever come in because they got scared in the rooms. There's no chapter in the back of the book called End of Scare. He went up, looked up, he said, let's tell Chris how our lives have changed as a result of working the steps. Damn. And they went around, lady across the way got in a brand new car, and she held up her car keys, and she was she'd been sober about a year, and she got her a brand new car, and I'd just been turned down for a car loan 2 weeks earlier, a little $500 car loan, and they turned me down because my credit sucked so bad. And guy sitting next to her had started a little landscape business and got busy with that and all excited about making a little money. And lady at the end of the table, she was a little older than I was. She was in her 40s, and she'd gone back to art school, and she got her degree, and she was all excited about getting her degree. And guy next to me had showed me pictures, pulled his wallet out, had little Polaroid pictures. Some of you little guys don't remember Polaroids, but little pictures of his kids. And he'd come to AA and met a little AA girl, and they'd made some little AA babies, and what the heck? And he was all excited about having a little family. I get people all over the world, guys, who want to send me hateful emails. Well, you think all meetings should be a pep rally. Yes, I do. We'd have a lot more people staying if we would get away from the pissing and moaning. Junior therapy sessions. I got so excited it wasn't even funny, guys. At the end of the meeting, these old cowboys asked me if I wanted to stay sober. I picked up my last desire chip. It's in that closet right behind me. And who knew it was going to be my last one? And they knew. Because I tell you, they met me at the door on the way out, and they said, Chris, sit with us for a few minutes. We want to see if we can help you figure out why you can't stay sober. I said, didn't I tell you I had a psychiatrist? I have all these professionals trying to help me stay sober. And this old cowboy, guys, I'm not kidding. He was a cowboy, big old Stetson on, big old white snap shirt. Y'all know the kind I'm talking, the stereotypical Texan that he had a Cadillac in the parking lot with bullhorns on the front. I mean, can't make this up. And he stopped me. He says, Chris, sit with us for a few minutes. And he opened the book, guys. I didn't have a big book, and they got me one. 7 years in AA, nobody ever offered me a big book. I didn't have a clue what they were. He opened the book and showed me up in the front. And again, if I can email you, I'll if y'all email me, remind me, I'll send you a little quick first step guide that talks specifically, answers the questions on 44 about the physical craving and the mental obsession. And we didn't start at the title page and start reading, guys. It goes too slow. There's a window of opportunity that we can get sober, guys, because when the obsession says, come back and says you can go take a drink or a drug, you're going to do it. You ain't going to call your sponsor. Let me just be the first to tell you. You're going to go get loaded. The deal is to get well quick. Nobody in the early days of our fellowships did they take all this time to work the steps. God, it just drives me crazy. Some of these fellowships out there, we take a year to work the steps. You're insane. If you can do that, that's called a hard drinker. Go away. You're a hard little drugger. You little social, I don't know what to tell you. We got to work the steps quick so that obsession will leave us, and then we can Guys, the next morning we did a third step prayer. We went to a meeting afterward. We did the prayer, and then we went and got some food, and they came back and gave me a notebook, and we started working on a fourth step. Day 2. Just like Bill and Bob did with the first 100 that got sober. Quick. I had a completed fourth step within a week. I'm sitting on the tailgate of my truck up in North Texas, and it dawns on me. I'm 2 weeks in, it dawns on me that the obsession to use is lifted. Guys, that was 37 years ago, and I haven't talked about taking a drug or a drink since. I'm free. Because a bunch of old cowboys got around me that night. Instead of going home to having dinner or running away with their peeps, they stayed with me and showed me what this was about. I'm so grateful to those old timers that did that. It's just, that next week, folks, they asked me if I went to my first group conscience, and they said, Chris, we want to nominate you as chairman of the cleanup committee. Because I'm in the food business, guys. They figured I could clean a kitchen. And I said, boy, I know you guys need it because this place is filthy, but I'm not remotely interested. I'm the newcomer, remember, the most important person here. And they just smiled. They said, come to the group conscience anyway. And I didn't have a thing to do the next Wednesday night after the meeting. And I stayed, went to my first group conscience. And within 5 minutes, they voted me in unanimously as chairman of the cleanup committee. Got it? 3 weeks sober, guys. Y'all follow? I get so tired of people in our recovery rooms telling people they're not sober long enough. You're not sober long enough to chair that meeting. You're not sober long enough to sponsor. You're not sober long enough to do. Why don't you just be quiet? There's nowhere in the book does it say that. My book says quite clearly on page 129, in those first days of convalescence, nothing will so much help you stay sober as intensive work with other alcoholics. I asked that guy after the meeting, I said, listen, if I'm going to do this, you need to give me a list of the other committee members so I can organize a cleaning rotation. And he spit coffee clear across the kitchen. He said, Chris, there's no committee. You're the janitor at this group. And I was pissed. He showed me where the vacuum cleaner was and gave me a set of keys, and there you go. And I stayed away for a couple of days. I was going to punish him. And on Friday, I got to tell you real quick, I unlocked the door down there and locked myself in that little AA club, and I cleaned it like a big boy. Guys, I do know how to clean a kitchen. My wife may disagree. I'm telling you, I can clean that kitchen. All that brown stuff in the coffee pots and those old bathrooms, and it's like an Exxon station, for God's sakes. Pick it up if you drop it on the floor, you loser. Okay, I feel better now saying that. But I cleaned the place like a big dog, and it was 5:30, and I made a pot of coffee, and it's 6 o'clock, so the meeting's starting, and I'm sitting there soaking wet, and I hear the front door open up, and the matriarch of the group walks in, and she's about this tall. Literally, guys, I mean, she can't be taller than 2 feet tall. She's just looks like a little question mark. She's about 140 years old. Easy. You could hear her in the linoleum in the front of the building. She's sliding in, and I recognized her from her sound of her shoes on that linoleum. And she walks in, starts squealing, and she's making a big old scene in the kitchen because everything's so clean. And she looks around the kitchen after she went to the bathroom and squealed loud. She looked around the clothes. She said, "Did you clean this place?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." If I'd have had a tie, I'd have straightened it. You know, she comes around behind me. I've told this story 10 million times, and I want to cry every time. I can still feel her voice on my cheek. She gave her little back, put her little bony arm around my neck and gave me a hug, and I can feel her little voice, and she said, "Boy, we need you here." Guys, 3 weeks before, I didn't try to commit suicide because I was drunk. I'd had a little cocaine on board. I wasn't loaded. I was absolutely hopeless. I felt absolutely useless. I tried everything anybody suggested and hadn't been able to stay sober. And this lady told me exactly what I needed to hear. "You mean you really need me here?" You damn right. That's what this is about, guys. I spent the next 5 years with that group. Every time a little newcomer come in, every time a little dope fiend would be in over there by himself, I'd go get him by the neck. And, go talk to him. We've got entirely too many people telling people you can't do that. You need to do that. I'll say it again because, guys, you don't know who God's going to use. Come on. So often I see it. 5 years later, I got married. I moved to the hill country here where I grew up, and I went to meetings over there. And we started a little literature-based meeting. And shortly after, guys, and this is in the mid-'90s, we started our first little Cocaine Anonymous meeting and a little candlelight meeting. It was something else to watch, guys. Cocaine Anonymous was an absolute godsend. I'm not knocking any of the other fellowships, folks, but I'm saying at the time, they were using the big book, still are, okay? But they were coming straight out of there. If y'all read the preamble, all the literature that we read, the readings that we read before Cocaine Anonymous meetings, they're just absolutely stellar. Really point blank about what we do in our fellowship and try to help that little newcomer. And I got to tell you, it was so fine to finally have the little drug addicts in our area. We have a bunch of treatment centers down here. I do clerical work for one of them, and we have a bunch of them, and a lot of people stay local. And a lot of these little drug addicts were coming into the hill country, but they didn't feel comfortable sitting in AA meetings. And I understand that. They felt, but you could get them over in the little the little CA meetings, and all of a sudden they're coming alive. They're all excited about being able to help them little dope fiends. I always get somebody want to complain about that. "Chris, it's all the same thing." It's not. The solution's the same thing. The steps are the same thing. But if you think it's the same thing, do a fifth step with an alcoholic one day. And then a couple of days later, do a fifth step with a little crackhead. Holy shit, what? No, it's not the same thing. That little alcoholic will be going, "You did what with a chicken?" No, it's not. I'm just kidding. He had a little methamphetamine addict in there, and oh my God, guys, it's not the same. Each of us can share our own experience. And that's what's the beauty. That's why Alcoholics Anonymous, in their absolute generosity, has granted, I think last count, 258, 57, 12-step fellowships, allowed them permission to use the 12 steps and traditions for their own fellowships, because it works. I got to mention real quick, I'm watching that clock close, guys. I started sponsoring. I was about a month in, and some guy asked me to sponsor him. He was a cook, and we had some similarities. And I started sponsoring him, and the rest was history, guys. I've never looked back. Just to have somebody close. You want to get something that'll get you out of your head? Go work with another alcoholic or drug addict, and all things change. I was talking with Nick earlier. We were laughing. I met Mark Houston in Ingram, Kerrville, when I first moved in 93, and he ended up sponsoring me for about 17 years, before he passed away, and he died in 2010. And alcohol and drugs didn't kill him, tobacco did. And just we lost him way too early. He was like 64 when he passed away. But in our lineage, there were people up in there that from Denver area. There's a guy there named Big Frank, and you can get his talks online. Big Frank, and he talked about the theater of the lie and the 4-step stuff. And we don't have time to mess with it too much, but in the 4-step, you can do the first couple of columns. You stay a victim. Third column, you stay a victim. Fourth column, you look about your mistakes, not your part, your mistakes. And you can start at the process. If you can see what you're doing in it, you'll stop being the victim. I've said it 1,000 times, guys, and I've watched it. Victimized people get sober every day. Victims don't. Y'all see the difference? Guys, I listen to some of your stories. I don't know how. I just don't know how we survived some of the stuff we went through. And I watched you do the work around it and walk through it with grace and dignity and come out the other side strong as steel. There's nothing external, folks, that is going to get me high. That we need to nip in the bud. The only person that's going to get me high is me. And if I don't do that work, that obsession is going to come back. I mentioned real quick, one of the things that I saw when I was doing that little theater of the lie, all these characters that are telling me who I am. Have any of y'all in here, just a slight raise of the hand, have any of y'all in here presented yourself as somebody you weren't in your drinking and drugging in sobriety? Y'all follow? Yeah. I'm a businessman. I'm this, I'm that, and it's like, the truth is when we can become the person we're supposed to be, the rest of this is heaven. I got here so confused in 1987. I didn't know who I was. I'll present the way I think you want me to be with a woman, with a work, with whatever. And I'm just not going to be true to myself. If you had a little picture of a little guy that's drinking and drugging and he's trying to get connected spiritually, the number one thing that blocks him from that spiritual experience is self-pity. Bill Wilson on page 62 talks about selfish and self-centeredness. That we think is the root of our problems. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on the toes of our fellows. My first wife, when she left, she said, Chris, I'm not leaving you because you're drinking and drugging. I hate that you're doing that. I can't stand your self-pity. I can't stand your depression. I can't stand to be around you. Always feeling sorry for myself. I should have got that promotion. I should have got this. I felt like coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's why I'm so excited to do a 4-step quick with my guys, 5th step, early on, quick. Like I said, they used to do it within the first day they come in, start writing it, get this thing done in a couple of days at the most, and dump a 5th step, and you can start seeing all the characters. I can use self-pity, guys, as a tool. Can y'all see that? I can keep you come at me too fast, want me to do something. No, I'm kind of in a dark place today. Oh, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. It's disgusting. And everybody backs up. Oh, Chris is in a dark spot. Why don't you turn the lights on, asshole? Quit. God dang it. Come on, I know life's tough, but we make it so much tougher. I just bless your hearts. My sponsor and old Mark and those guys got around and laughed their butts off. We did a 5th step and started showing me my truths. Fear, resentment, self-pity. That stuff slides away, folks. You start becoming the person that you're supposed to be. Bill Wilson wrote a little paragraph. Self-pity is one of the most unhappy and consuming defects that we know. It is a bar to all spiritual progress and can cut us off from any effective communication with our fellows because of its inordinate demands of attention and sympathy. It is a maudlin form of martyrdom which we can ill afford. I'll translate it. Self-pity is ugly. But we all end up doing it. If this happened to you, you would feel sorry for yourself too. No, I know it's natural, but guys, if we allow that, that'll control us. It'll absolutely consume us. No. We don't want to play that game at all. There's an article out there called Thank God for Your Discontent. See if you can look it up. Again, if y'all can get my email, I'll send it to you. But it's a really good article about God maybe tapping you on the shoulder, making you feel a little uncomfortable, so maybe you'll get off your butt and change it. If you're sitting in this gathering right here, we had a pretty fine crowd here. It was 118 people. We had 119 a minute ago. I pissed one of them off, I guess. Come on, guys, but every one of us in here, if you're spending a little time with it, If you think that God wants you to be miserable in some form or fashion, you're mistaken. God wants you to be happy. And I just need to tell you, there's a lot of people out there with this, I'm just powerless. I'm powerless over people, places, and things. Guys, that's not in the book. That's not what this is ever. We got more power than you can shake a stick at. There's a lady out in San Diego, a lady named Ann Wayman, wrote a book called Powerfully Recovered about women in recovery. It's perfectly applicable to guys, but that's what it talks about, is this idea that we come up when we present that because we're alcoholics and addicts, that we're somehow powerless. No, guys, I'm powerless over alcohol and drugs. I got enough power in my life to choke a horse. I can do whatever the hell I want to go do. I can go anywhere I want to go. I don't have to worry about triggers, all that nonsense. That's the image, the picture that we need to be painting to the newcomer, folks. It's time for some of us to get in a little spot where we can finally get happy. I watch people in AA that are not happy. They don't have a snowball's chance of staying sober. Even when things are tough, folks, one of the things, I'll wind this down real quick. One of the things that I see is getting to be an old guy. I got sick a couple of years ago. Vertigo made it almost impossible for me to fly as much as I used to, and I can't do any long distance stuff. And it's just a bummer, but the clock's ticking. The closer you get to the clock, you can hear it ticking louder. And it's just one of the things that I see. I don't spend time thinking about the things I didn't do or whatever. I want to cherish every moment. I don't much know how much time I got left. I don't know how much time any of us have got left. I just know that sitting on my butt in front of the TV feeling sorry for myself instead of being down there at that group or that halfway house someplace trying to help that little newcomer. Buddy, you want to know what real happiness is? Go do that. We used to take my mom to speaker meetings, and she'd eating meetings and little celebrations, and she'd leave, and I laughed about it 1,000 times. I'd take her home, and she'd have a little tears in her eyes. I said, "Mom, are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah, I wish I could find that kind of love in our churches." Yeah. No. Yeah. And I ain't knocking churches, folks. I'm telling you, you get in a good, healthy meeting like this Zoom started with everybody laughing and talking and visiting with each other. Come on. You're not ever going to find that anyplace else but the Fellowship of Cocaine Anonymous. Alcoholics, some of these other fellowships where they've got the juice. They're having spiritual experiences. They're all excited. I got to tell you guys, it's time we went out and made some money. Time we get out there and start painting some pictures. When my insides don't match my outsides, folks, there's going to be conflict. And that spiritual warfare that so many of us hear in our little head, you can't go back to school. You're not old. You're too old. Stop. Start listening to what God's really trying to tell you. You want to go back to school? Go back to school. You're in a shitty relationship? Get out. Move to Texas. We'll hook you up. I'll tell you, oh my gosh. I'm just saying, guys. I mean, some of y'all would look good in a cowboy hat and some boots. Come on. Awesome. I mean, I'm just saying. I just think God wants us. I didn't get sober to be miserable. And if you are miserable, talk to the person sitting next to you. And if you need a therapist, we'll find you one. But I got to tell you what fixed me, what absolutely changed my life was intensive work with another alcoholics. Go find you a little knucklehead. We got a guy at the club that, God, I've told it 1,000 times that just when I saw him, he was all pouty because nobody wanted to talk to him. I said, nobody can see you. If you got to hold your vape with two hands, it's too big. I'm just saying. All you can see is these two little tattooed legs sticking down from this big old cloud of smoke. We got him out of the smoke for a while and got him hooked up to a big book. He had a spiritual experience. And on any given week, I'll go in that club early to set up for the meetings, and he's in there and he's got him a little newcomer around the neck. You know what I'm saying? Got his big book beating him over the head. It's beautiful to watch. Man, and all of our little heads say, I can't do that. I'm not sober long enough. I can't do this. Stop. Stop telling yourself you can't do shit, because you can. How are you going to find out? You're going to try it. And if it doesn't work out, then you tried it. Go try something else. You'll be blessed for at least trying. I'm going to end with this. Somebody sent it to me, a great quote. God didn't add another day to your life because you needed it. He added it because someone needed you. Yeah. Fact. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. Woo.